Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Wrapping up June. And this recap heading into July. Holiday out here in the States this week should be a good slate. Let's go back to the last week of June right here and get through it. The Yankees took on Toronto in Toronto and split Cleveland and Kansas City. 3 out of 4 for Kansas City there. That's a big series. Obviously, you only gained 2 games. But it's 2 games that they needed there. So maybe Kansas City can creep up on Cleveland. Kind of surprised by that one. But next up, we have the Tigers and the Angels. The Angels end up going 6-1 on their homestand. Couldn't finish today, almost had a comeback, but nonetheless, take 3 of 4 from Detroit. Texas and Baltimore. Baltimore takes 3 of 4 from Texas. It just looks like Texas is having a uh, World Series hangover type year. It hasn't been good so far, but we'll see in the second half they can get it going. Minnesota and Seattle, wrapping that up. Minnesota ends up taking 2 of 3 from Seattle. And that'll do it for the AL and the National League. Miami and Philly end up splitting. In Philly, Bryce Harper got hurt. Schwarber got hurt. No good for the Phils. Cincinnati and St. Louis, they also split. That one was in St. Louis. Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Atlanta ends up taking 2 of 3. No surprise there. Chicago and Milwaukee. 2 of 3 from Milwaukee. And the Dodgers and San Francisco. San Francisco ends up taking 2 of 3. Blake, if you want to go over the interleague.
Yeah, in the interleague, Tampa takes 2 of 3 from Washington. In Tampa, the White Sox take 2 of 3 from Colorado. That was, like you said, the dumpster fire series there. San Diego ends up taking 2 of 3 in Fenway. Houston takes 2 of 3 from the Mets. In Queens, Houston's starting to figure it out offensively and pitching wise. And then Arizona ends up taking 2 of 3 from Oakland. So we both go 8-4-3 this week, 1-1-1 head to head, so no games gained. I'm one or sorry, you're 195, 146 and 31, and I'm 206, 131 and 29. So good week, solid week for both of us. Those two ties kind of throw a little wrench into our predictions, but oh well.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
New type of format. We are approaching 1,000 subs, and ultimately, it's just one of those things where we keep getting hit with copyright when we use the highlights, which sucks because it's much better when we get to use those. But we're gonna try it this way. If it just ends up sucking, then you know what? We'll just wear it on these videos. But we're gonna try it this way. No highlights this week. But let's jump into it. Starting off in the American League. We have Houston and Toronto. It'll be Brown versus Rodriguez, Arrighetti versus Barrios, Blanco versus Kikuchi, and Valdez versus Bassett. The Jays just split with the Yankees, and Houston has been hot lately. Seattle's starting to lose some games, and Houston's gaining ground. I think they're 3.5 back now.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and go with Houston in this series. 4 game set. It is in Toronto, but Houston's been playing some really good baseball as of late. Surprise, surprise, here they come. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Stros.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Astros as well. Although it is really, really good to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. kind of find his footing. We're kind of seeing the 2021 Vlad in terms of the power kind of returning there. So that's really good to see. Yeah, the series against the Yankees, they basically took turns beating the shit out of each other, alternating games. The Yankees won 16-5, and then the Jays won 9-2. It was just 4 straight blowouts to either side. Houston's playing better, man. As we all expected. We all kind of said they would figure it out, and here they are, kind of knocking on the door. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Houston as well.
Next up, we have the White Sox heading into Cleveland to take on the Guardians. It'll be Flexen versus Carrasco, Fetty versus Williams, and Thorpe versus Lively. The White Sox are what they are. Cleveland's been top tier in the American League so far. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Cleveland in this series. Not much analysis that you need in this one.
No, anybody that plays the White Sox that's not a bad team should win. The White Sox are going to get their odd series here and there. So, yeah, I'll go Cleveland here as well.
Next up, we have the Detroit Tigers taking on the Minnesota Twins. It'll be Skubal versus Woods Richardson, Flaherty versus Festa, and Maeda versus Ober. I'm going with Minnesota. One of these series again where Detroit hasn't been playing good baseball. They have some guys banged up. They just lost 3-4 to the Angels. And then Minnesota just took 2-3 from Seattle. I'm gonna ride the hot hand, plus they're at home. I'm gonna go with the Twins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Twins as well. Detroit just lost 3-4 in Anaheim. So they're kind of reeling a little bit. You miss Lopez in the series, which is good. Skubal, that'd be a tough one to win, but I think Minnesota will win as well.
Next up, we have Tampa Bay taking on Kansas City. It'll be Zach Littell versus Singer, Pepio versus Waka, and Eflin versus Marsh. This one might be a little interesting. Tampa has been playing some better ball, but Kansas City just took 3-4 from Cleveland. So they're on a burner right now. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Royals.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kansas City as well. It is crazy. Did you see that stat about their home and road splits? They're one of the best teams in terms of strikeouts at home. Like they strike out the least at home and they strike out the most on the road. Like it's I don't know if it's the backdrop in Kaufman and they just see the ball really well there, but I just thought it was really crazy. Like it's a drastic split home and away. So they're at home here and they've been having some really good success there. So I'm gonna go Casey as well.
Next up, we have the Angels taking on Oakland. It's going to be Soriano versus Spence, Daniel versus Estes, and Contreras versus Sears. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Angels. They're hot right now. They've won they're 6-1 last week.
Yeah.
In June, they ended up going 15-8. They have Oakland coming up. They just swept them at home. Um, yeah, I mean they've been playing some pretty good baseball. The young kids, they look good right now. So I'm gonna go with my Halos in the series.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Angels as well. Like you said, almost they were down 7-1 today, made it 7-6, almost tied it there late. Yeah, I've been really impressed watching the Angels play. It's just a bunch of young kids that are looking to make their mark in the league. And this is really good opportunities for them to kind of gain experience and playing these moments. So quite a uphill battle they created themselves from the start of the year, but yeah, playing really well right now.
Rounding out the American League, we have Baltimore taking on Seattle. B. Rodriguez versus Kirby, to be determined versus Gilbert, and to be determined versus Miller. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Baltimore here. Seattle just lost 2-3 to Minnesota. No Castillo in this series, but Kirby, Gilbert, Miller lines up nicely. But Baltimore, they've been hot lately, so just took 3-4 from Texas. I'm gonna go with those.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Baltimore as well. I almost did take Seattle because I do love that pitching, but their offense just has been brutal. I watched a couple of games versus Minnesota, and they just are struggling to string hits together right now. And I mean that's not a very good recipe for scoring a bunch of runs. So I like the pitching in this series, but the O's are just they have over 60 home runs in the month of June. Like it's crazy. They have the most home runs in the month of June. They're swinging it right now. Kersted's hitting clutch grand slams for them. They're just getting production from up and down the lineup from everybody.
Next up, we have the New York Mets taking on the Washington Nationals. It'll be Peterson versus Gore, Manaea versus Hers, to be determined versus Parker, and to be determined versus Irvin. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Mets. They've been surprising as of late. They're having concerts on the field. You get Pete Alonso dancing. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Mets. They're vibing right now, and they're facing a division opponent, so it's a 4-game set. Wouldn't surprise me if they take 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to take the Mets as well. Washington been sputtering as of late, although they did have a little bit of a hot streak there in between. But yeah, the Mets are, like you said, strictly a vibes team. That's exactly what the Mets are. And the month of June, they've been surprisingly good.
Next up, we have the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Colorado Rockies. It'll be Wilson versus Gomber, Keuchel versus Feltner, Ray versus Hudson, and Myers versus Quantrill. Colorado is what it is. They are at home. they find ways to win at home sometimes, but I'm gonna go with Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Milwaukee as well. Keuchel
Excuse
just
me.
recently, oh, no worries. Keuchel just recently traded over to the Brewers for $1. Not sure if you've seen that. That was a crazy headline that I read. Had to double check a couple facts there, but yeah, it should be a sweep for honestly for Milwaukee the way they swing it offensively.
Next up, we have the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. It'll be Gibson versus Keller, Mikolas versus Jones, and Palante versus Perez. I really don't like how Skeens and Jones have gotten split up. Before they were on back-to-back nights,
Mhm.
and it felt like they could win some series. Now they do have Keller and Jones going back-to-back. But man, I just really liked it when Jones and Skeens were just backed up to each other. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Cardinals. They've rallied back to being in this thing. Um, and Pittsburgh just hasn't met my expectations thus far. So I'm gonna go with the Cards.
Yeah, we kind of both thought that Pittsburgh might take a step offensively and that yeah, how young they are. But yeah, I'm with you on the back to back. I'm not a fan of that either. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh here though. They do play better at home than they do on the road. But what do you think the reason is that they split them up just to kind of win some series is like where they don't have to pitch back to back? Like what do you think the reason is there?
No, I think it just ended up being an off day, and then
Hmm.
they got all thrown off there. But um, yeah, for it was they split it up at one point. I think maybe it was just Skeens went deep into a game. Obviously, he wasn't that built up in the minor leagues, so trying to manage that, and
Yeah.
um, I think that was the reason why, if I remember right. So next up, we have the Giants taking on Atlanta. It'll be Birdsong versus Lopez, Hicks versus Sale, and Webb versus Morton. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Atlanta. San Francisco did just have a nice series against Dodgers, but Atlanta needs to prove some stuff right now with Harper and Schwarber down. This is their time to kind of take reins of that East if they can get close.
Mhm.
Obviously the Phillies have a pretty good lead right now, but yeah, with those two big guys out, this might be a window of opportunity. So I'm gonna go with the Braves.
Yeah, we're not sure about the severity for well, and Schwarber. I know it's a groin injury for Schwarber and a hamstring injury for Harper. So two pretty serious injuries for Philly. I'm gonna go Atlanta here. They have to start figuring it out, right? They're obviously one of the best teams in baseball, but definitely not playing like it up to their potential for sure.
Next up, it's Philly versus Chicago. It'll be Mercado versus Wesnenski, Wheeler versus Imanaga, and Sanchez versus Tyon. I'm gonna go with the Cubs just for that reason of no Schwarbs, no Harper. That leaves you with Turner, Castellanos. Uh, I mean, Real Muto. Isn't actually Real Muto's hurt too, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're banged up right now. Obviously, they do have Wheeler and they have Sanchez going in this. But Imanaga, even though it hasn't been just like it was in the beginning of the season, he's still been solid. Chicago's at home. I'm gonna go with the Cubs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Philly here. I just think they're a better team, even with the injuries, than Chicago. Chicago has been such an inconsistent team for me. Like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they traded a guy like Bellinger, because they just it's just been an up and down roller coaster for them this year. Like, there's just really no consistency. Ibanaga, after a really good start, it's kind of been touched up here lately. So be interested to see in this series. Some really good pitching matchups in this one. Obviously, they missed a guy like Ranger Suarez in this one, which is good for the Cubs, but I think Philly could still win this one.
Next up, it'll be the D-backs taking on the Dodgers. It'll be Nelson versus Miller, Montgomery versus Stone, and Gallen versus Knack. On paper, I like the D-backs pitching better, even though Jordan Montgomery has been as bad as he's been. With that said, the Dodgers are at home. They've been playing pretty good baseball up to this past weekend. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Dodgers in this one.
I'm gonna go Arizona here. This might be a very dumb pick for me. I might be giving you a game back here, but um, I just have a feeling like Arizona could get it done. I mean, they've had they've shown that they could win in Dodger Stadium before. Um, and obviously you got Gallen. I like Gallen over Knack, and if Montgomery can pitch up to his standards, I like that matchup too. But Stone is coming off an absolute gem his last time out, so could be a tough series for Arizona. But I'm gonna roll with them right now.
Next up, we have the Reds heading into New York to take on the Yankees. It'll be Ashcraft versus Hill and Abbott versus Rodon. Looks like it's only going to be a 2-game series here. I'm going to go with the Yankees. They just split with the Jays. They're missing Hunter Green. They're missing Lodolo. They're missing Montas. Um, it's going to be Ashcraft, who just coming back from the minor leagues, and Abbott, who's been decent. Hill's been electric, and Rodon just had a bad start, but outside of that, beginning of the season looked really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Yankees in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Yankees as well. Aaron Judge is unbelievable right now. 31 homers, 82 RBI, and we're not even in July. He's on like for how cold he started the season with the long ball. The fact that he's on pace for a 62 homer season is crazy. What he's doing right now, he hit a ball up into the WestJet flight deck today. 450 dead center. Like it was insane. Yeah, what he's doing right now is I haven't seen this in a while, so it's awesome.
Yep. And rounding things out, we have the Red Sox taking on Miami. It'll be Crawford versus Belazzo, Bayo versus Rogers, and Pavetta versus Tyler. I'm gonna go with the Red Sox in this one. They need this series, and Miami, though they've looks like they've started to win some games here and there. Boston is the better team, so I'm gonna go with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Red Sox as well. They just dropped 2 of 3 to San Diego at home. Miami's not a very good baseball team, so the Red Sox are, I think, been better, a lot better than what people expected. So yeah, I'll go Red Sox on this one.
That's going to do it for this one. In review, I have Houston, Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City, LA, Baltimore, New York, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Atlanta, Chicago, LA, San Diego, New York, and Boston, while Blake has Houston, Cleveland, Minnesota, KC, LA, Baltimore, New York, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Philly, Arizona, San Diego, New York, and Boston. As always, we appreciate you guys for listening. We're close to that 1,000 subs, so if you like this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.